Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun.
Good morning, everybody. It is the 23rd Friday. Good morning when... Oh, I will begin shortly. I won't copy and paste the news because the YouTube mobs think I am spam. Yeah, it's okay. You don't need to post the news when just talk with us. It's great. You do such a good job. We appreciate it a lot. Okay, guys. Well, yesterday, I tell you what, I'm actually a little bit frustrated because we haven't had a lot of really good market moving news, which is kind of the sort of stuff that I look for, you know. And then yesterday we got this huge market moving news, but you know I wasn't around to take advantage of it. So let's go to the charts and look at what happened. So volume profile. Oh my gosh. So we were doing, okay, so we got to go back a couple of days, right? We had a big down day and then a big recovery. So pretty good recovery, and then they're looking to take it like further, like really look at this thing. That was like, hey, we're gonna go and touch all-time highs again. I bet that they were planning a ramp into the close, all that stuff. And then news hit the market that Joe Biden is going to increase capital gains taxes on high-income earners to up to 43.4%. Pretty high. I mean, I'm sitting here thinking, man, when I take profits on my garlic coin, that is going to really take a big chunk of my profits, man. I'm going to have to adjust things a little bit. But hey, it's unclear how big of an impact on the economy it will actually have. I haven't seen any estimates of like how much money that will raise and therefore how much money it's taking out of the market. I'm kind of a little bit skeptical about how much money would actually raise, because I think that people would just, get out of it, Anyways, so yeah, the markets took a huge dive. They didn't go for yesterday's low, the previous day's lows, but they went out there, and now overnight, it's up a little bit. So I did a thing. I came over here. I actually, when the market closed and it opened back up again, I waited and I said, I think this is a buy, because I don't think you can pass the plan. So if the market is just completely selling off because of that, I think it's a buy. So I bought it overnight as an experiment to see. This is every once in a while I'll be like, let's see if I can swing trade these. So I tried swing trading it. I came back here and, I had made a little bit of a profit, but it didn't hit my first target, which was around the 50 area. And I don't want to be messing around with it a ton. So what I decided to do was just reduce my risk. So I had 10 contracts on. I took all but one of them off. So I have all but one of them off, and then we can manage this and see what we want to do. But for me to come back and see it's still right at my price is not what I expected. I thought for sure that they would just buy it up. But the Asian markets have been pretty subdued. Like Japan is going back into lockdown and all these things. So anyways, back over here to charts. When we come into the treasuries, you can see the treasuries were all over the place yesterday and bought pretty heavily off of that. So kind of interesting. One thing that I think we should watch for there is if they put those taxes on, that makes those treasuries a little bit more attractive. If the yields ever get to a spot again where it's actually yielding, man. So like say 5 years from now we actually have a treasury that actually yields, that could be a real problem. So that 2% makes a big difference. So over here, oil, is just, they looked so good and then back down, but not a whole lot overnight. And gold and silver also. I mean, they're looking bullish. They're back towards their higher areas in this range, but still mostly sideways for the moment. And then copper. Copper's still doing okay. Not back to the all-time high, but looking pretty bullish. And then the biggest one, the dollar. The dollar getting crushed again this morning. We'll see if they break the 90.8 level. Now, let's see here. I'm not sure. Do we have news? We have market manufacturing PMIs. Oh, yes. So there was some PMIs over in other places. Yes. I think it only targets like one. Yeah, so it's like you have to make $1 million. So if I make, if I make $3 million on garlic coin and I sell it, I will have to pay half of what I make to the government. That's painful. Versus 20%. It's a big hike. It's a huge hike. Bitcoin slides on tax hike plan. Yeah. Well, oh yeah, I didn't post. What is Bitcoin here? Oh, below 50K, really? Minute myself because I YOLO'd into UVXY 3 minutes before it skyrocketed from the Biden speech, and I screwed it all up by accidentally clicking limit sell instead of stop and selling. Ooh. Oh my gosh, which is the indicator and what? No, what are you talking about? Oh my gosh, I saw this video. So here's what we're gonna do today if we get bored, is we're gonna make the most ridiculous chart. Because I was on TikTok again, and I saw these videos of people doing technical. The funniest one to me was this guy. Somebody was saying, "Hey guys, here's this stock pattern." He was looking at Bitcoin. I think this was before it dipped. He was looking at Bitcoin, and he's like, "Look, guys, this is a descending. This is a descending channel or whatever. This is a bull flag or whatever." And this other guy came in, and he's like, "No. Look, this is a wedge. These technical patterns, they aren't." What was the word that he used? Oh my gosh, now I have to look it up. I have no one to blame but myself. Oh my gosh, I feel so dumb. I can't even remember. I want to be accurate. Subjective. Yes, stick. You got it. I'm going through this whole thing. He was like, technical patterns aren't subjective, and I'm like, okay, dude. So I actually pressed him on it in the comments, and he responded back. He's like, well, the patterns aren't subjective, but which ideas you choose to use is subjective. And I'm like, okay, so it's subjective either way. I guess you may have an argument that I could come in and I could write an algorithm that says this is a wedge or a descending wedge, but I don't think that all of that stuff is necessarily agreed upon. So then the difference between a wedge and a descending is, it's kind of, I don't know, man. It's not like it's gonna be perfect, right? So how do you say that it is or it isn't? Okay, so here this morning we are getting a little bearish action coming in. So maybe off of those Canadian numbers, I don't know. It's not subjective. I just can't. Like, how would you say that isn't like? If I come back here, if I have a pattern and it goes like this, and then it goes G G. Then I could say this is a wedge pattern, right? But you can't say that it's, so for it to be a bull flag, it has to be exact, like, I don't know. They ain't subjective. The holy book defines its stickball. Oh, you're right. I have the holy book. Maybe you're right. There have been people have algorithmically defined them. You know what? It was something that I found really weird. Something that I find really weird is that there is not a pattern identification indicator for NinjaTrader. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure that Thinkorswim has one. I've seen platforms that have them, right? They'll come in and they'll say, you pull up a 1 minute chart, and if it's a head and shoulders pattern, it will like draw it and identify it and say this is a head and shoulders. Such an indicator doesn't exist for NinjaTrader because let me tell you, here's one that I've seen before that I think even amongst people that aren't really favorable to technical analysis watch and have opinions about how it goes out, right? It's this one, right? It comes up, it comes to like the high of the day or something, and then it goes like this, and then the next pullback is a little less, and then the next pullback is a little less, and then it's going to break out, right? Like an ascending wedge into new highs. Cool. That's great, Crack Password Gun. Go and watch him. He's full of shit, but that's okay. So I was like, let's test this pattern. But an indicator that to do it already doesn't exist. So then I was like, well, okay, so how would we detect this? And I worked out how to do it, but then I lost interest, so I didn't do it. Are the robots awake? Yes, they are. By the way, the robots did absolutely terrible yesterday. Absolutely terrible. I think yesterday was the first time. So remember that the J robots were designed to do a kind of like a risk premium strategy where they risk more than they make. But I started going through, and when I back tested it, they were profitable even on break even. So I thought, okay, as I'm testing these and I'm doing like the level 2 stuff, I should do it on break even to really see which difference it makes. Well, as I've tested my different level 2 strategies, I haven't really found a significant difference. It filters some out, but I don't know if it's really significantly changing the win rate or anything like that. So I'm gonna give it I think I'm gonna give it another week, but I'm not so sure that the way they were that I'm using level 2, this particular experiment is very successful. But they are expected to like lose money because like we started testing them and they weren't making money. So if I switched it back to the risk premium thing, they should be making money. But the idea is that they should look really good to most people, but then they'll blow out at some point. That was the whole idea with those, right? So yesterday was the first time that all of them blew out. Usually it will be like 3 of them will be kind of, okay, bad, and like 1 of them will make money. And it's kind of random which one it will be. But no, yesterday they all blew out. You know what? I don't like you. Okay. Okay, so what are you guys talking about in here? Can Biden implement his tax plan with an executive order? No way. He can't. No, he can't. It has to come from, yeah. Oh, Keller already answered it. Yeah, it has to come from Congress. That's why a lot of people saying the Dems talk is just noise. Yeah. He's totally right. No, he's totally coming into, I mean, listen, I don't even know if he actually has a channel, but it's probably just Salim trying to troll us, right? I mean, I kind of suspected it because that person only ever said, you know, kind of tried to poke people. So I was like, well, Seth, that's expected, isn't it? Anyways, for those, yeah, it's expected for those bots to do bad. Not Gabby. So Gabby has been interesting. You want to see Gabby, the way that Gabby's performed? So the Gabby one is interesting because she's just Simpro. So over the past week, she has made some money. You notice it's not a ton of trades though. It's only like 7 trades on that one. Now if I go to like, let's see, that's from the 16th to the 23rd. If I go from the 1st, I think that should probably, okay, that one is negative. Now there might be, let's see here. There was like one trade that was like super bad. Largest losing. Okay, so this data set doesn't include that super bad one. That's actually not a very good win rate on that one. Analysis. There you go. If I go really far back, March, I think. So it will include that really bad one. Yeah, somewhere in here is that really bad one. But where we closed it down, it took a trade and then we turned the algorithm off, and so it didn't exit, and so it took a larger loser than the algorithm would have. Anyways, I guess we have to go back even further than that. Is she been since February? Oh, I guess that's the beginning. So in the beginning, I remember there being times where like she did awesome, and then all of a sudden it was like this period where it was just dismal. And now, getting back into April, it's starting to do okay again. And this is another one that we were going to, you know, add risk on. So I think that if we add the risk that she's tradable, I think that if we take more risk with her, that she's tradable. But I don't know. When you come in and you look at the summary, right? Oh yeah, okay, so that's a little bit more like what it should be. So there's one loser that's particularly large, so that max drawdown should be like half of what it actually is. But 47.83%. Random, right? It's a random. So this one is kind of weird because what I've discovered is there is a really good chance that it comes back to that area. But I have no way of determining how much risk you're going to take on that one. So if you take set targets and everything, it ends up being random. So if I took a skewed trade where I took on more risk than my profit, then I think that edge where it does come back to that spot would start to shine out a little bit more. But I think you'd still have pretty ugly drawdowns. So I don't know if it's so good. But I guess it's kind of the point, right? I'm going back and, you know, I'm testing some other stuff, but they're not ready for like actual trades because I'm still kind of doing the math and the analysis on them. But I've very much gotten back to, if I'm going to do automated trading, I want to do risk arbitrage. Did anybody buy Dogecoin? Well, yeah, Keller was in it. You're not still in it, are you? That one came back. Now we didn't talk about the cryptocurrency market. Let me show you this. This is ZB right at the week's high. Dude, Uzi, I cannot figure out the treasuries lately, man. It will just go through They're pulling orders both ways, and I have no clue why they're doing what they're doing or anything, and it just looks like random to me. I feel like, so when I see it move down, like say it goes down and on like no volume, and I feel like it should trade a lot of volume, and I can't understand why. I'm often thinking, hey, maybe there must be a currency move going on, right? But then I come over and I look, and I don't really see a strong correlation with any currencies or anything like that. And so I'm like, I feel like there's got to be some correlation or piece of news that I'm not aware of that's moving it. It's just so frustrating because I feel like I'm missing a really significant part of the action over there. It's all sort of a blur. I don't get these people who come online and want to tell everyone else they're wrong and they know what's right but can't prove it. Gee whiz. Right, Win? Well, I just don't. So with some of these people, listen, there are two things that will get you banned: spam, and holding yourself up as an authority in an argument without providing like evidence, right? So you can't come in and say, I'm the master at technical analysis and I'm this great trader and I get all of these things, and then you have no proof that any of your strategies are worth jack squat, right? And anybody that comes in and starts promoting themselves like that, goodbye. If you want to convince me on a strategy, you're going to have to show empirical evidence. Like, I don't get mad at Kyle when he comes in and he talks about the option strategies. One, because I know that those strategies are like kind of a thing. But when he's showing stuff, the stuff that he's showing us and talking about are like actual stats about the market, right? And then you have all these people that are just like, oh, well, the market does, well, they wouldn't even point out strategies or anything like that. It was just ridiculous. He did tell me about one thing, and it was something that was fairly unique, but not completely outside of the boundaries. I think that he was misapplying the statistical concept, and when I backtested, it didn't have any efficacy. So, this is a sign that all the crypto projects worth investing have already been given invested, so I won't give the same gains. Yeah. So let's talk about the crypto market. So some of these, man, are just got creamed, right? So Ethereum down 10%, Bitcoin down 10%, Dogecoin down 13%, Siacoin 20%, Verge 20%, Garlic Coin up 25%. What? So then you come into the chart. Look at that. Garlic Coin now, just do one day. Garlic Coin now well over 10. Like, what the heck? It's so crazy. It's like, it's not stopping. It's so funny. See, let me tell you, here's the trick. Is just have a coin that is so low that any large holder literally can't make money by selling, because if he sold it, it would go back to zero. So they all just stay in. It's great. Obviously, all the profits over there are just paper profits, but hey, this rise here that we've had, let's go over the past month, man. Oh my gosh. I guess it's been longer than that, huh? So it's right here, yeah. Because it was spot 2. It was spot 1. Like, it was worth literally nothing. In the past month, we've already made like, 20 times our money? I just can't. The whole thing is ridiculous. Now, if it was spot 2, and then we times it by 2, that would be 2 cents, 10. And then we times it by 10 again, and that would be 20 cents. So it was like 150 times their money. It's just like, what? Fill me in on what garlic coin does. It's a coin and it's funny, I guess. It's literally, as far as I know. Well, actually, it is a little different. So it was basically Litecoin. It started out as basically Litecoin, but with a maximum uh, a maximum number of shares or coins, max coins of 69 million, and a more aggressive halvening algorithm, so that the vast majority of the coins have already been mined out. Like there's 63 million coins out there, and yeah, so it's kind of funny. Like when I was mining it, you'd get like 50 coins a day, right? And now it's like you mine all day and you get like 2. It's really funny. Name some finance says you're working on your first video. Good job. Good for you. I'm totally down with other people making channels. Just don't come and spam us about it though. You can come and give us the link when you put it up though. Oh, I'm not worried about spamming. Yeah, it's good. Well, the thing is that the especially when you're starting out, the thing that's going to matter is correctly targeting a keyword, right? Which means you have a title that targets a specific subject that people are searching for, and the video is good and has good information, and people watch it when they click for that, and that's all that matters. This is what I like about YouTube, is at least for their videos, is it's not random. It's if you make a good video, you will go to the top of that search term, and it is just a matter of stumbling across the right idea, and if you really stumble across the right idea that people are really looking for, and they watch your video and they subscribe afterwards, then YouTube will send you masses of people, and it gets absolutely ridiculous. Whereas on TikTok, man, whether or not people watch my TikTok videos is so effing random. It's so frustrating. I'll go and I'll make a video and I think it's so funny, and I put a lot of effort into it, and nothing happens. Market's pretty quiet today, by the way. This guy's 7 loud. Talking too much. I have to remind them it's literally zero sum 50-50. Yeah, these coins are literally aren't zero sum. Like, if all of the holders decided to sell, it would go to 0. It's just, it's not because it is manipulated. You know what? So we've talked about this before, but I feel like the retail trading community throws around the word manipulated too much. Right? So here's where we should really get into it, right? Because if somebody comes in and they buy a big amount and they sell a big amount, and that moves the price, is not manipulated. That's called trading. It's called price impact. Large traders have a price impact, and it's totally fair. You think it's not fair, but it's totally fair, because there are huge disadvantages to that price impact. It is a net negative on their profitability, okay? But what is manipulated is you come out and you say, hey, we created this new coin. It's called Sure Moon. Oh, by the way, don't tell anybody that the person that created the coin owns 50% of the coins and can basically decide when to sell or not sell and can prevent other people from doing anything with it. Yeah. So those guys got hosed. Yeah, there was people in SureCoin sharing patently false information. That is market information that you can get prosecuted for. Yeah. If you own a major share in any asset, you can corner the market. So you're saying I need to corner the garlic coin market? Because if I decided to come out with, a couple, maybe 10K worth of garlic coin, I think I could corner the market. HF says, strange to see price going nowhere for a while. So I want to know, why did the E-mini, when we first came in here, push down so aggressively, and now is just sitting here doing nothing? It's a little bit weird action today, for sure. For sure it is. For some reason, I still got in my head all of the things that I see out there that I just like. Why am I ornery today? Did you guys do something to me? Yeah, the treasuries have moved a little bit since they opened, so I guess it's not like completely dead. Ray Dalio is offering a personality typing course. Well, you should take that, I guess. He's a value investor, right? This just might not move until the PMIs, man. And then even then, I don't know. So, what's another weird thing? Is I don't know why I'm stuck on this. Why my brain, sometimes you get like hyper focused on something and you just go into it and go into it and go into it. But I'll go and I'll be on TikTok and I'll see somebody say, technical analysis. Here's my technical analysis of Bitcoin. It's not subjective. This irks me. But then I think, why does it irk me? Because they're sharing false information to people that could be a disadvantage. Oh, they're making it easier for me to make money because I know that these things don't matter. That makes me so upset, I don't get why it bothers me so much. Perhaps it's just because of what I'll go and I'll see an account getting attention on information that's not useful. I don't know. I think that ES will head up to 41.55 today. Well, that was my target, but I was expecting us to be opening up closer to the 41.40 area. So, I don't know. Everyone who takes enough bets, even if it's 50-50, they'll realize they're still losing money by not investing it. Yeah, well, it's weird when you come into some of these, like, well, so I think I can do this one. Let me see here really quick. If I come in and I do the robot that sucks, the HFTs, all of them together. Yeah. Oh, they're random. They're random. A little bit better on the short side, though. It's a random. You'd think that random would be 50%. Now, random is more like 40-45. It irks you because it seeks accuracy and you don't find the definition of the word they use accurate enough. Objectively speaking, of course, it's about the cognitive function and attitude of consciousness. Just don't post links anymore when it's okay. That aren't enough odds, Stickball asks. So if we come back and we run you wanna try it? So let's do it. Let's do it. I'm gonna do it. Because I'm not so sure that the way that I've been testing these really all that helpful. So gonna remove these. Also, I'm wondering, do I... Why does it say account position 2S? Okay. Close position. Okay. Edit strategy. So I'm wondering, I didn't have it too fast or anything like that, did I? So I have a period of 8. So let me come back in here. Strategy analyzer. See, here's the one that was doing really well. Stop. Period 4. Well, there's no way that would work. So on these ones, so what were we using? Period of 8. 16.588. So that's what we're going to change it. So we're going to do 16. 16.5. Stop of 8. Streak limit. Loss limit of 100. Sim HFT. And then I got to come back to my spreadsheet and remember which one was the best one. There's a couple of these that are actually, yeah, it was this one right here, the min, which was theorized was the one that should do the best. So I don't know if that's enough, but yeah. So we do, okay. Yeah, we'll enable that one. And see how it does. I'm using, what platform are you using? I'm using NinjaTrader 8 and Jigsaw Day Trader. And I have a video on my channel. If you go to the channel page, you should see it there under like getting started. What is the best software, futures software platform? And I talk about what I use and why. What was I talking about? What was it that you guys said that made me like, okay, let's just run the robot with the weird risk reward setup? It's not you. You just have to understand what is and isn't appropriate by which underlying political philosophy it can be linked to. If it's right, it's not all right. Basic rule of thumb. I feel like I'm missing something here. Like I had a thought and then I lost it. I tell you what, this thing in Bitcoin, by the way, you know, we didn't really finish it, but for them to go back to 50K, all right, if they dip again and they get below 45K over the weekend, this could get really ugly. It would not take very much for them to push it into like a, you know, larger than 50%, 50 to 80% decline. Liquidations weren't pretty. It kind of makes you wonder what happened. Somebody must have taken profits. Yes, Uzi, what are you going to do for the weekend? I need to record a video, man. I was going to record my process video, and I did it last week, but I didn't like it, and I'm not going to do it again. I'm going to do it again tomorrow. Oh, you said randomness is really 40 to 45%, and I don't know what you meant by that. Okay, so if you come in and you say, I am going to create an algorithm that randomly buys or sells at a completely random, it's not based on anything, it's completely random, and it has a 16 tick stop and a 16 tick profit, what will the win rate on that strategy be, assuming that the entry signal is truly random? And everybody says, well, your risk reward is equal. Your probability over a large enough data set should be 50% because you have equal risk reward. Correct? Incorrect. Because there's the spread. Boom. There you go. Stickball says it. There's the spread. Not just the spread, but there's the impact of your own order too. And let's see here. What else? Commissions. I guess you kind of have to factor in there too. So when you put all of those things in there, if it's truly random, it's going to be something like 42%. So if you're coming in and you're getting like 45, it's not like your strategy is awful. And in fact, if you come in and you've got like a technical signal and it's 50%, then there might actually be something to your signal. Like that might be you were really seeing something, but it's not enough to give you an edge. Kevin says, I would also say direction matters. If you look at equities long is more favorable than short. Oh yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure. That's something that really screws up a lot of retail trades. Do I have that in my notes here? Let's see here. I think I talk about that, but I need to make sure that I talk about that if I don't. No, I don't. Let's see here. Stickball says limit orders give you edge, but subject you to adverse selection risk. But what if you just did the 50-50 on dark order book? So I'm not sure what you mean by that, but let me say it this way. Using a limit order is an advantage if you're not at the back of the queue, right? So if you can always work it out so that, you know, so a good example is if I were to take the edge, if I were to buy this here at 22, well, okay, that's actually a good example. If I sold it just right there and now I have 2,000 behind me, then that's good, right? That was taking the edge, and I can sell. I have 2,300 contracts to sell into. Cool. And it ticks down again. This is where I'm getting frustrated in the treasuries. Why is it doing that? I have no clue. Why is it going down? I have no clue. Is the dollar moving? The dollar's not moving. Equities aren't moving. I'm not really seeing like a lot of volume in any of the treasuries over here. Maybe it could be in the 2-year, maybe. Could be in part of the curve that I'm not watching. Not really seeing. Okay, I am seeing some movement in gold. Gold is turning down as the treasuries kind of yields started to increase there a little bit. Oil is moving a tiny bit here. I can't explain why it moved that aggressively. 4 ticks just like that. For why? I don't see any correlations to explain it. No volume to explain it. It just does it on not that many contracts. Okay. But anyways, I digress. If you are not at the back of the queue, then it's an edge, right? To buy or sell something, and then, okay, so if you buy it and there's only like 500 contracts, then it's not so good. Now 2,000, okay, great. You have an edge. So if you were long and now you're at 21, now you have an edge. Because if things get testy, you can just break even. Then you go back to 1258, break even. Bada boom. You're great. Right? That is an edge. And the way that these market making algorithms work is they get that edge, and then they have a complicated model to calculate the amount of volume going against them. So they're willing to take it and let it go against them a little bit. But only to a certain point. And if it starts really going against them, if the volume really gets going, then they pull their orders, right? Competitive in providing liquidity. Yeah. Normal exchange, you have 2 choices. Market and limit. Market orders cost money because you're paying for the premium of liquidity. And limit orders cost you money because you're not competitive in providing liquidity. Yeah. There you go. You can't get at the beginning of the queue. But here's the thing. You sometimes you can work it out, but you need to have an additional edge, right? Like, we could say I can get a good position in the queue at 21 right now just because there's not a lot of people trading there, right? So if I have something to tell me that, you know, so what if we had bought it there? Then things would be looking really good. So what if we have something that tells us that we should be doing something there? I'll tell you one thing that I see at the moment that might be a little bit of an edge is that there is a spread going on here. It appears that there is a little bit of flattening going on, right? And the flattening is more extreme between the 30 and 10 and the 5 and 10. So we could say that the 10-year needs to tick up again, maybe into 22, in order for these spreads to make sense. Because otherwise the 30-year is up like 3 ticks, which doesn't make any sense. So we might be able to come in and say, well, like, let's try it. I don't know how solid of a thesis this is, but this is just kind of like how I try and game it out. Okay. No. So I'm wondering, so the 5-year ticked down, that's still light like that. Oh, we don't want it like that. No. We'll try it 1 tick. So I'm just looking, I'm in a spot where it's like, I shouldn't get filled. No, it's not. I guess it's kind of a different setup now, isn't it? This is a setup that we wanted. No, it's not doing it. We'll do it like that. Okay. What's your outlook on NQ? Well, I'm expecting a bullish day in the equities today. I believe that the Biden tax cut shouldn't really be a factor, and that the markets will revert back to where they were. Okay. So I don't look at them very often, but it's all being recorded, so I can go back and look. But I would say, though, you don't really need to do it anymore, because pretty soon YouTube is going to have a built-in clip feature that will be different. So didn't you also say markets were really overbought and should drop to 3,800? Yeah. Well, so the thing is that I just don't think that that's what they're trading off of right now. So, like the first 2 days where it went down today, this week, that was a solid setup. But then, okay, so this is really flattening. Holy cow. If I clip something, it'll only be for my notes, or if you ask. Okay. Yeah, because pretty soon we're going to get, Google's going to implement the clip feature, and you'll be able to just go in and create a clip for me. It'll be awesome. Marlon, welcome back. Hello. Dark pools get you closer to true 50? No. A dark pool is about something completely different, right? The dark pool is about being able to execute an extremely large amount of contracts without having a significant impact on the stock. Because you could come in and you could sell 1 million shares in the open market. Everybody's going to see it. And because of the limit order book and everything, there's going to be a limit to what you can get from it. And there's a lot of risk associated with that. But if you can negotiate with somebody a fair price over the counter or through a dark pool, then you would rather just do that. And so that's why the dark pool exists. But I don't know exactly how the execution mechanisms in dark pools exist. I don't think that it's the same thing as a limit order book, right? What's a dark exchange? I've not heard that term before. The only reason I know a little bit about the dark pools is because we were setting them up when I worked for Goldman. But I didn't work, I didn't run the matching algorithms on it. It was just we would send our orders over there. So all I know is that they can send orders there just like they can anywhere else. So, but I don't know if that's exactly the same thing as a limit order book. My back's a little. Binance has a dark pool. Oh, that's interesting. Well, anyways, I this didn't work out quite the way that I was looking for, but it's okay. But here, do we have edge here? 1602 that I can just break even into if I want, and some traded into 19. Yeah, like I have the advantage there, right? Ticks up. Now I'm 540 in line. Break even. See? So now there's still the adverse excursion risk, right? So that's where you have to have a model in your head about what the probability of informed trading is based off of this action. And then, cancel your orders or whatever. As a retail trader, you can't really do that. So as a retail trader, I'd say you're really going to have something that gives you a really good probability of winning in addition to the Q. Which I think I can work out with some of my other edges. It's just, it seems like there's something else moving the treasuries and I'm not aware of what it is. Yeah, it's just not quite sure what it is. I guess the 6J moved. 6J came back down here. I wonder how far that's going to go. Nick Patel, I'm new here. That sounds like a name that's not familiar, but and I think that's. I get suspicious about new people, to be honest with you, Nick. What markets? So we're trading the equity index futures and the treasuries. So I kind of have like a swing on over here in the E-mini. So I'm looking for an update. We'll see. I'm a little tentative. So somebody was saying there's a little bit of contradiction in the market right now because I think that the Joe Biden thing is like no big deal. But I do think that the markets could be set for a move back to 3,800. The thing with that second part is that 3,800 might not happen for a couple of months, So I think that for that today that the up trade makes a little bit more sense. If they decide to go for the short squeeze again today, there's there could be a lot of pain for the shorts, but I actually had a swing on from overnight, but then since when it came back, I just scratched most of it because I didn't want to necessarily manage a swing trade all day. Okay, so that's good right there. 2,000 to sell into. Great. Why not move that stop down, right? Okay. Break even. There you go. That's what you want to see. That's a good solid down tick 2000. Carrie Norton on tax. When I was about 6 years old, my late grandmother, who had known tough economic times, was explaining taxes to me, and I said, why would anybody want to pay tax? Oh, grandfather, sorry. His reply, Gary, I'd love to be paying $1 million a year in tax. Fair to say there aren't many with that view nowadays. Listen, if it doesn't have a significant impact on the market and it raises money, then that would be great. But the issue that you got to consider with it's particularly a capital gains tax is all of that money. You look at how much money it raises over a year. That is all money that is going to be taken out of the stock and real estate markets. And that has a negative impact on the price of stocks and real estate. If you own stocks and real estate, that's not really a good thing for you, even if you don't pay the tax. Taxes is just a subscription. Childhood is just a trial. Yeah. See, the issue is when a tax has a direct negative impact on growth, right? And you have to balance it out because you have to have some amount of taxes, right? And I think the thing that would be an issue on this one, if it was like actually serious, like there was actually a serious chance of this passing, then I think the thing that would be at issue is why. So they want to add this big tax on the wealthy so that they can give a larger tax credit to people with children. So I have a kid. I have kids, three stepkids and one baby. So I would stand to make a lot in a situation like that, right? But I don't think that I should be getting paid more from the government for kids. I think that that's a really scary slope to start going down. To start and like directly incentivizing that is like, I don't know, guys. So I don't know. I'm just glad that it doesn't really stand much of a chance of passing, right? So that we don't have to really think about that too much. Okay, so that the 30-year is really lagging today. BTC taking a beating, yeah, it is. Yeah, we have trolls show up a bit too often, so that we're careful with our welcomes. Well, here's what has happened to us is when you have a community that is established, like we are, we've been doing this for 4 years now. It starts to become a little insular, and that is uh, intimidating to new people, and so that's a bad thing. But I'd rather the new traders be intimidated than we devolve into, nonsense. So or people that are just there to troll me. Like you come in and the only time you ever talk is to rib me on a particular issue of some sort, then yeah, you're gonna be gone. I'm gonna ban you because I don't like it when you do that, and I don't have to. I can ban anybody that I don't like. So, okay, here comes the E-mini. Let's reduce the Bitcoin chart there. So initial move is long, but it's very tepid. Okay. So now counter move. So let's say pretty mixed open. Looks like the Dow is lagging a little bit today. Like, look at that. The E-mini was ticking up, and the Dow was like actively down ticking. I would usually go over to someone's news channel, but they're a veritable plethora. Yeah, I wish that the chat would let you click on people's names, but I guess YouTube disabled that because people would just get into chats, live chats, to try and promote themselves. So they changed it. Okay, interesting profile on the open there, by the way. I'm tempted to buy in here again, but since I already have a contract on and all that, I think I'm not going to risk, messing around with it too much. My sim thing here hasn't taken a trade yet, but sometimes it has been constrained. It haven't gotten a really significant overextension yet, so. You can click on the comments if they leave one on the upload that takes you to change your channel. Yeah, I think it was more the live stream where they had those issues. Okay. So they downticked there in the Treasury. Well, the trend is looking pretty good in the E-minis so far, but they're forming like a real step in the profile here, right? They're having to plow through a lot of volume to make it, so. Ouch, 222 at 18.5. Down tick in 2000. The issue is, will the 5-year tick down there at 0.75? It's a little too tepid. Iceberg at 18.5. So level break set up here. $4,000. See, now that's what you want to see, right? Cool. So we got two winners and a scratch on that one. We have solid evidence that there are vaccines that protect against all variants of concern. Yay! Well, the E-mini is not like gangbusters yet. I do think we could break out here, and 50 would be the first step, and then could keep going after that. I don't know. Oops. Too bad I can't read the planet. I don't think that the alignment of the planets are going to affect our lives in any way. The moon cycle might affect people. You think that the moon cycle... Did you know that elephants worship the moon? They have rituals that they do to the full moon. There's some of these things that I hear about animals, and I'm like, and we don't know what they're saying to each other, because how do they learn those things if they're not actually talking? I don't know. Charles Gasparino, breaking on capital gains, the final bill likely to bring the rate to the high 30s and not the full 43%. DC sources tell Fox Business and Senator Schumer role in this is interesting. NYS, so I guess that means New York State, experiencing massive outflow of tax dollars. This will hasten the outflow, but Schumer is worried about an AOC challenge. Ooh, that is interesting, in fact, yes. Okay, now the Treasury's downticked again there, huh? Well, they did so together, so you know, I can I can put an order out there like maybe if you get lucky sort of a thing. Our Girl Scout troop leader worked in a neonatal unit, and on the full moon, more babies are born. Also, during storms, and cops post the full moon on the blotters and brief it to the patrol. Really? Well, that is interesting. So you can see here that the 5 and the 10 are like in lockstep, but the 30 continues to lag. The dollar's seeing a little bit of strength, but we're still below 91. Yeah, Goldman, remember that on the capital gains tax thing, Goldman was saying that they think the final number will be more like 28. Hmm. Noticing that in the 2s and 10s, we're getting a little bit of steepening here down on this move. Ruble jumps after Russia surprises with bigger than expected rate hike. Oh. There's an old wives' tale that tells you that you should go out during the new full moon and hold out a piece of silver, and this brings you profits. Okay. That sounds worth trying, actually. That seems like a profit-making opportunity. You could have like a party and tell people that they're supposed to have silver at the party. And if they don't have their own silver, they can buy it there at their party. And then you can sell silver. Come on, it's an idea. And, you could charge a little bit more than you normally would, because demand will be higher because of the festival. Yeah, let's do it. Silverfest. Yes. Now, where is RTY? RTY is leading the pack right now. By the way, on this move down, I'm going to say fairly aggressive correlation with the Japanese yen. Maybe we should have this up. What do you think? 6J. Hey, that's actually more liquid than I thought it would be. Oh, you know what? We get news here. We're going to have news here. Why am I not hearing it over the... Oh, Financial Juice hasn't launched. That's why. So we're looking for a manufacturing PMI of 60.5 and a services PMI of 61.9.
10 seconds.
We get 10 seconds here.
60.6 is lower than the forecasted 61.0. The US market services PMI 63.1, 63.1, which is higher than the forecasted 61.5. US market composite PMI flash 62.2.
Okay, so services is coming in at 63.1 and manufacturing is coming at 60.6. So a little bit mix of services is really good though. Composite 62.2. Oh, yeah, you have the new squawk. I need to turn that back off. Okay, we're good. We're good. It was a good thing that I didn't have the squawk going all morning. Composite PMI of 62.2 is a record high, according to Forex Live. E-mini not exactly taking off after that. The Treasury is being pushed down a little bit. That was a hard sneeze. Okay, noticing something just coming in there. I think I'm going to have to bail on that one. So I should have clicked there just before because this looks like a toxic fill, right? Well, the E-mini had a little bit of a bearish movement and now it's pushing back up aggressively, so I don't know. Okay, yep. Yep. Well, I tell you what, the yen don't move around as much as I thought it would. Look at that, squeezed me out and then went and filled it. Boo! E-mini pushing new highs. Looking bullish. Boom. Cool. Treasuries are very much in lockstep today, aren't they? I'm like at first there was quite a bit of like steepening and flattening, but now that is like all evened out and they are just tick for tick. Market. The worsening supply situation is a concern for the outlook, especially in relation to prices. Supplies needs to improve to come into line with demand. My paper again is doing well this morning. Size. Yeah, same here. Oh, it was your daughter's idea to name your ferret Helen Keller. In order to offset the capital gains hikes, they need to jam the market up more and more, increasing the gains. Okay, well. The issue with it is like because it's only on profits that you take, right? But it's just like that's say you have a really good gain on a company and then you want to reinvest those profits. That's 43% of those profits that you don't get to reinvest that doesn't go back in the market, and that affects the rest of us, right? It does. Nope, missed it. Them yields coming down hard, and the Japanese yen is pushing it every step of the way. I'm thinking, boys, that I want this on here all the time. But how do we make room for it? How do we make room for it? How the mini look at it go. Look at it go. Big, strong bid there. 41, 42, 75, 500 contracts or so. They chasing. They happy. So 50 is kind of like the midpoint of the Biden comeback. So like 50 is going to be a spot. Let's see what they do from there. 1,000 on the. So some reloading there, 44. Hey, Big Toasty. Now, I wonder if they're jumping up on those PMI numbers or what, but because there wasn't like a very strong initial reaction to the PMIs. Maybe in treasuries, but Oh, we do get new home sales at the top of the hour. My legs are like, I don't know why I'm feeling really fidgety today. My leg is like bouncing like crazy. Chaos erupts in Congress as Republicans demand Democrats withdraw racist trash accusation. Representative Mondaire Jones condemned Republican arguments against statehood for Washington, D.C. as racist trash in a speech on the House floor Thursday, leading to vocal objections and a heated argument that resulted in Mondaire withdrawing his statement in the latest sign of the bitter tensions underpinning the statehood debate. Oh, gosh. Like, it's kind of in the Constitution that D.C. can't be a state, so to come in and say, oh, you believe in the Constitution? That makes you racist trash? Come on, Mr. Jones. Seriously, that's a little just a little overboard. Is your leg uncomfortable? Like, no, I didn't even notice it until I was looking at my audio meters and I was like, why is it going up? And then I'm like, oh, well, that probably doesn't sound very good to the people on the stream. You didn't notice it until I talked about it? Oh, okay. Okay, good. Okay, well, the Treasury is coming back up there a little bit, even though the 6J isn't backing off, so. See, so a fill like that is not too bad, right? I mean, there's still 600 lots on there, but I was at the back of the line. They filled me, and it didn't tick through immediately. So that's slightly positive sign. It does look like they're going to trade through it, but there's an iceberg there. So see, it ticks through 600, and then it ticks back 500. And over here in the 5-year, a little less firm. Check out the trader's going to trade mugs in the store. Oh, yes. That's a great mug, guys. You can get it in the video description below. Merchandise store. I'm still waiting for them to get hats. I want a hat. We need to make like a don't be poor hat or something. Something really offensive. So there's going to end up being a 5K iceberg at 14.5A. And the 6J is still ticking down. Okay, so here's the housing numbers. 1 billion versus 885,000. Oh, 1 million versus 885,000. So it's good. The numbers were good. And what was the month-over-month percentage? 20 versus estimated 12. Yeah, that could push the treasuries down. That's pretty thick there, though. Yeah, he balled. Good deal. I was like, good deal. At the same time, I feel bad for the people that do live there. For real, don't get equal representation. No, but I don't. That doesn't make much sense, Keller. So maybe if you were to say that on the House, but for the Senate, for instance, nobody has equal representation, right? Each state gets 2 representatives. And some states are larger than others and they still only get 2 representatives. So there's a implicit realization that having equal representation for people is not the only thing, right? So at that point, then you have to ask what is the advantage of adding in another state with 2 new representatives for such a small area, right? In a place that frankly, like there's mostly Maryland there, So does the 2 representatives in Maryland not accurately represent the interests of the people in DC? That's kind of like, when you really get down to it, why do they really want it? Because they know that there'll be Democrat seats, right? Because you don't see anybody arguing for California should be split into 2 states or New York should be split into 2 states, right? Hey, let's do it. I don't think that New York should be, or sorry, I don't think that DC should be a state because the Constitution specifically forbid it. But Puerto Rico, that one's kind of controversial, but I always kind of thought that they were going to become a state, so I'm not opposed to them becoming a state. But let's do it as a you got to do it the way that they did it pre-Civil War, man. You got to compromise. We will split up the state of New York and bring in Puerto Rico. That's fair. It's fair, right? And I honestly, do you think it's fair to all of the people in upstate New York that they're represented by all of the people in New York City? Because that's a lot of people. That's a lot more people than I think are in DC, isn't it? And they have a very, very different view from the people in New York City, too. So wouldn't it be more fair to them to split the state up? I think it would. But you didn't see anybody arguing for that. Or same with California. I think California has an even better case, right? They've been talking about, there was a really strong movement to split California up. They've been wanting to split up for 60, 70 years now. But what happened was World War II, and they dropped it, right? So why doesn't California, why doesn't anybody talk about splitting up California? California, frankly, California could be 3 or 4 states, if we're honest. Because the Bay Area is different from LA, which is different from San Diego, which is different from the far north side of the state. Of course, the Dems want it because it would be a Democrat state, but I think the argument could be made that a lot of Republicans would purposely look for any reason they can to say no. They'll probably. I mean, like if the proposal was to split up Texas, then yeah, the Republicans would look for every reason possible to not do it. But there's kind of the bigger point though, right? What really matters? The balance of the Senate. Right. Like I know sounds awful because that is kind of contrary to many of the values. And I would really say that these are values for people. Like that equal representation in democracy, for a lot of people, they consider it to be like a value based, like that's the moral thing to do. And I'm suggesting that it's not. I'm suggesting that equal representation for population doesn't really necessarily matter. What matters is you get the best laws and the best decision making in the end. And I have seen a lot of evidence to suggest that like a majority rule kind of stuff like that is not really that effective at that. Get what I mean? Keller says I agree with that, yeah. Democracy doesn't honestly work, yeah. Well, and this goes back to the filibuster thing, is that, okay, 60% to pass anything is maybe a little bit extreme, but some of the things that would get passed with just a pure majority in the Senate are frankly crazy. Frankly, really crazy. And something needs to change so that the proposals that are being put through Congress are not so crazy and ideological. There are lots of things, I believe. I don't know if this gets filled at 13. This is kind of weird. I believe that there are lots of things that Congress could do and accomplish if they simply said, we will only talk about things in which there is widespread agreement amongst the two parties, period. And anything that there is widespread agreement amongst the two parties to do, we have to do. So they could come in and could say, yes, we should do, and it could be like piecemeal, because there's also this problem with these big bills that, like, you get a big bill and then everybody has something in the big bill that they disagree with, right? But you could come in and say, okay, well, we do all agree that there should be some infrastructure projects to fix roads and bridges and electricity. Okay, we can all agree on that, and we can do that and pass it, right? Things like that. There's a lot of craziness. And if they was laws to, like, eliminate large bills and stuff like that, would be very different. I disagree. Equal representation matters. This is what democracy is all about. It's nonsensical that the Dakotas get to. Why? But why? See what I'm saying though? Like, why do you believe that? It's almost like a value-based statement. You take it for granted that equal representation matters. But why does equal representation matter? So why would it be bad? I think it would be bad, but let's ask why. Why would it be bad that if Utah had 98 representatives, or let's say that Utah got 100 delegates and all of the other states still only got 2? What would be wrong with that? Do you get what I'm getting about? Why would that matter? The law as it stands can't just be ignored because it took so much compromise and stuff to even get to the country where it is. Okay. That's kind of another point, is that there are rules, but they might flip back up here a bit on the 10-year. I'm still long in the E-mini. I guess I shouldn't have changed my other trade, where before I came in on the stream and I reduced it. I should have left it as like a full-on swing trade with 10 contracts and taken 5 off at 50. Although maybe those targets were too aggressive. Maybe I could have come in the overnight and I could have said, instead of 50, I could have said like 35 or something like that and had 50 as my target. So maybe I was going for too big of a trade. Hey, Caitlyn Jenner officially announces challenge to Governor Newsom in California. Oh boy. Okay, so if Utah had 100 delegates and everybody else only got 2 senators, right? Why would that be a problem? Because then Utah would have complete and utter say over everything, right? Okay, so let's go back to the system that we have now. Everybody gets 2 senators. States with less population end up mattering more to the overall process. Why is that good and beneficial? Well, you have people overall, right? We have all of these people all over everywhere, and they all have an interest, right? But then we can also group them together, right? I live in Utah. I don't want 98 senators. That would be ridiculous, right? How would we pick 98 senators? Oh my. Especially with everybody in the state would have to vote for all 98 because they're statewide. Yeah, you're right. That would be ridiculous. No, there are interests. There are people, and then there are interests, right? So there's one group of people that live on the coast, okay, and their interest is going to be importing stuff and things that have to do with their access to the ocean. Is going to be that there are some people that live in Silicon Valley, and their interests are going to be in line with the things that make tech companies money. There are some people that live in Utah, rural Utah, and their interests are in the farming and land management, right? And so what would happen if you only did it by population is you would have interests, niche interests that are important that would always get ignored because the interest with the most people would be the one that always wins. So, and that would be a big disadvantage to the country, right? Can you imagine what the economy would be like? Well, I mean, heck, it's kind of already happening where like what is happening with Amazon and Google and Apple are like the only things that matter to the economy. Like it's already kind of becoming like that, and it's a problem, right? No, there needs to be interest and a voice given to every interest. And so we break it down by state, and each state has interest and they get equal representation at that level. It works well because of that, right? Having that 2-tier system and as a part that is not purely based on population, it makes America better. The laws, if we were to go back through the history and we were to say there was only the House of Representatives, the country would look completely different, and we probably wouldn't be successful. We probably wouldn't even still be a country anymore, right? If it wasn't for the Senate. So I would not discount the value that has, even though, yes, it does lead to that some people technically get more representation than other people. But how am I making that judgment? I'm saying what is effective. What is effective? And this is one of the big issues in society that I think that people don't understand. Like if there was something that I could teach people about politics, I would it would be this. It's the thing that people don't want to hear is that what is fair is not what is effective. Okay. It actually turns out that some of the things that are the most effective ways to increase the standard of living for everybody also happen to not be very fair. And there's going to be a certain level of inequality in the country. Right. And so, you know, some of this stuff where it's like, well, we need to people that are less advantaged need to be given, you know, like a leg up, need to be given like government help so that we can all be equitable. That's not effective. It's not effective at forwarding progress in the country, right? We want it to be equitable. The more equitable it is, the better. But when you come in and you force equity through government, it actually has a detrimental effect on society. It makes the accomplishments of the people that are receiving that help ignored. It's like you're taking away their ability to prove themselves. If you come in and you're down, you have a disadvantage. Your success, your advantage is the disadvantage. The ability to overcome that disadvantage and what you learn in overcoming that disadvantage that other people don't have to do can be an advantage to you, and it makes the successes that you've had that much more amazing. And when you come in and you create that, you know, you give people success through government help, it destroys all of that. Now they have no accomplishments. You only have those things because of the government. You see? And so then that completely changes people's attitudes and what they try to do and don't try to do, and the decisions that we make at the very top level. And it ends up in the society as a whole making less effective decisions and therefore less growth. What actually makes for prosperous society, and surprising what it actually says in the end, kind of promotes feudalism. So let's go back to Ganesh's question. Do you want our country represent what the majority of people desire, or based on random geographical lines determined decades or centuries ago? I want the country to represent what is most effective. That's what I want. Like, listen, if the majority of people want something that is stupid, then I don't want that. Like, this is a problem. Well, so let's take it a different way. This is I'm going to tell you something that's even more useful. This is in terms of finding edge in the modern world. I believe this is the most important thing that you can understand. Well, maybe I shouldn't say it like the most important thing, but it's the most effective strategy that I have found. And it's this. Because there's information everywhere. Everybody thinks they know something. I think that a lot of left-leaning ideologies tend to be really attractive to people that are young, because when you're young, you come into the world, you actually understand the power structures and what is actually going on and the actual happenings in the world. And what are you going to see? You're going to see things that aren't just. You're going to see situations where what happened was just totally what shouldn't have happened, right? Like, there's going to be a situation where a person had an encounter with a cop and the person was not doing anything wrong and they died, okay? Hasn't been any of the cases that people have been protesting about lately, but there have been cases where a person wasn't doing anything wrong and they died, and that's not right. There are situations where, because of a person's life circumstances, where they were born or other things, that they do not have as much as other people. And so when you're young, you see these things and you want to fix them, right? And so liberal ideology is all about changing things to try and make them better, which is a good thing and is something that we need, right? But there's a problem with that. So once you get to about 30, is well, late 20s, so like 25, 26 is about the point at which it's like, I'm supposed to be an adult now. I'm like a full grown adult. I still feel just as incompetent as I did when I came out of high school. And you realize that you don't know everything, right? And so you kind of start to question, well, I believed in this idea and this idea and this idea, but maybe I'm not that smart. Maybe even though I still believe those things, maybe there's things that I don't know that would lead to that those ideas aren't a good idea, right? And this is where conservative ideology comes in, because conservative ideology teaches us that there's positives and minuses to everything. There's not, like, utopia is not necessarily achievable. There's not an optimal solution to human society. There's not. And so you kind of have to pick and choose which things matter the most to you. In the United States, basically the thing that they decided is that freedom and liberty is the thing that matters the most to them. And so they structured the society up like that. And that has downsides on the other side, right? You're less safe because you're free. Straight up, right? In China, they have less freedoms, but the virus was stamped out faster, right? And then the thing is once you get into your 30s, you kind of, it's not just that, oh, I don't know everything. It's like, oh, actually, most people are stupid. I only have a really small view of society. And that's the same with everybody else. And most people simply don't know enough and have a wide enough perspective about what is going on and how a particular policy affects the millions of people, hundreds of millions of people in the United States, to really be making these decisions. And even the people that spend their whole life studying this stuff and dedicate their lives to this stuff will get it wrong sometimes. So the conservative position is there are certain things that we do have that we know work, and those are the things that we're going to protect and defend. That's what conservative ideology is about. And so the biggest one is conservative ideology says that Western values, which is to say values like freedom of speech, freedom of economic activity, ownership of property, are good and work. And liberal ideology typically wouldn't touch those sorts of things. And so conservatives would move on to the next set of things that they think work, at least, but, you know, are maybe not as widely agreed upon. Like, for instance, relationships between men and women, right? And what has happened is liberal ideology wants to change everything, and they have slowly moved to where they want to change everything. They want to change relationships between men and women. They want to change basic liberties. That there are things that are literally written into the Constitution that you look at, you know, the things that liberals are proposing shows that if they had their way, they were going to rewrite the Constitution, that it wouldn't be in there. If liberals were to rewrite the Constitution, it would not say that the right to bear arms shall not be infringed. That wouldn't be in there, right? So to come back to it, yeah, majorities are often wrong about things. And the thing that I have found will give you an advantage in this world, because you just can't know everything. You can't know everything about each individual person, right? So because of that, some of the things that will give you the strongest edge ends up being things that you don't know, which is to say, it's something that everybody thinks that they know, but you know that thing is not true, right? So it is a really huge edge in trading to know that the vast majority of retail day traders believe that past price can accurately predict what future price is going to be. And that if you have the sophisticated and correct analysis, that you can predict what it's going to do most of the time. But if you know the truth, of that past price is not very indicative of what the future price is going to do at all, that the number of times in which you can make an accurate prediction are extremely limited, extremely short term, and are basically already arbitraged out of the markets. And therefore, anybody's claiming that because of this support and resistance line or whatever, that there's a higher probability of it going to here or there. If there really truly is, then there's going to be a skewed risk reward, and it's still a break-even trade. If you understand that alone, you're basically admitting, I don't know where price is going to go, right? My ability to forecast it is really uncertain. That's a huge edge. That's a huge edge, because all these people are spending all this time. They're wasting all this time over here when they could be over here. They could be over here saying, well, what is the price of the US dollar? Did the price of the US dollar just change? Then should that change the value of my asset? Or if you're looking at the S&P 500, what are the constituent parts of the S&P 500? Which parts matter more and which parts matter less? Are those stocks heading up today or down today? What are the fundamental changes that are being made today that might affect those, and how would that affect the index? Instead of going in and saying, well, we just went up to this line. Because really, when you think about it, especially on an index, man, to come in and say, oh, this line is going to be respected on the index. Once you understand how an index works, it's kind of like a really questionable thing, right? So I hope you understand how I was able to apply this kind of thing that we understand about society as a whole to trading, right? Or should we come into trading and say, well, you should pick the trading strategy that most accurately represents the interests of the people most popular based on population? No, you trade based off of what works, right? And you choose a decision-making process that works. And if you were to come in and to trade, and you made a trading strategy that was, voted on by people, everybody had one vote, do you think that it would be a very effective trading strategy? Probably not, because we know that the vast majority of people lose money in markets, right? So instead, we need to pick a decision-making process that actually has proven efficacy. Now, is the decision-making process that we use in the United States House of Representatives and Senate perfect? No, it's definitely not. I mean, over the last 15 years or so, we have certainly tested the limits of it and seen where some dysfunction can come from in the Senate. And I would not be entirely against certain proposed reforms. I don't think that you should get rid of the filibuster, but maybe there are some situations where, if it's a 55% majority, it can get through or something, And maybe there are certain proposals that really have no chance of passing at all that they shouldn't be wasting their time with, right? How would you change it? I don't know. All I know is that the system that we have right now works pretty damn well. And so if we're going to change something about it, we better have a really good reason for it. And we better have a lot of data and information to understand the impacts of what that is going to be. We know what the positives and negatives are, and we've accepted them, right? That was a big long spill. I could have sold the treasuries there again, but I wasn't necessarily seeing the opportunity to get in like I was. But the 6J came all the way back, and gold and silver get killed, but the oil went up. So I'm not sure why treasuries are moving the way that they are. They've been up this week, they've been down this week, and it's just random. Maybe it's the PMIs. I mean, this did really start. Well, no, I take that back. It was before the PMI. It was the 745. It was the PMI. Okay, so about half of it happened before the PMI. So it could have been all about the PMI. Zero Hedge tweets, now that JP Morgan has joined the bearish bandwagon, there is no big bank that is bullish on stocks in the midterm. You know what that means. We're going to go higher. Thoughts on ITP? My biggest swing right now, they have an FDA mask approval pending. Well, that's interesting thought. So I don't know anything about the stock, but if you have a good reason to believe that it's going to be a pass, and you understand how much money they are likely to make if it does pass, then go for it. But if you don't, then that is the thing that you should go and find out, right? You should go and find out how much money do they actually end up making if it passes, and what are the chances that it actually gets approved. Do you know something about that process that makes it likely to get approved? I had a friend that he was all in on like the medical trials, and he would make tons of money on big pharma calls. And he would read the studies and the data information that they put out. And because he was a clinical researcher himself, he knew what sort of things to read into the reports to know how likely it was to get approved. Let's see here. ZB has retraced about half the week's range. Jeez. Well, did you come in today thinking that we were going to be down on the treasuries that much? I mean, I think did I ever take any of these along? Oh, no, I didn't. Okay. Whatever. Well, there's the 50, by the way. The 6J is backing off a little bit, though, so I don't necessarily want to just sell it, but we might be able to come in here. Thanks, shorts. If rallies past that, there's a chance of yesterday's a high retest too. Yeah, I think so. Because like, here's the thing. Why did we have Wednesday's move? Like, that's the real question, right? What was Wednesday's move all about? Was that just short covering, or did they have a good reason to buy it up? Because in order to be bearish today, I think that you have to discount Wednesday. You have to say it was just a pullback or a reaction or a short squeeze, and that it doesn't really reflect where the index is going to be going, right? But if you come back and you say, I don't really know where it's going, I know that there was a big sell, and a big buy, so let's just call that all a wash. And then we have a big sell off of something that we understand, which was Joe Biden's tax plan, and we know that it's not going to pass, so it shouldn't matter, then shouldn't that move retrace? So all other things being even, I say that we should retrace, and that's why I took the trade. I'm explaining too much today. Was been trying to be slight. You guys better all be watching. Wait, how many people do we have watching? 24. Okay, well that's okay. That's okay. So I guess that's good though. I didn't teach too many people. I don't want the whole world to be good at stock trading. Just those of you that I like. That's another reason why I'm so quick to remove people that I don't like. I don't want to teach the people that I don't like how to trade. Shorts don't know what a news reversal is. That must be it, man. I just the thing that's kind of funny when I'm looking over here is like everything is happening. What is happening right now in the E-mini is basically exactly what I said was going to happen. Like almost down to the exact, like even down to like prices. We'll see if they get above 50. I don't know if they're going to like completely retrace yesterday's thing or what, but I'm going to try and hold this to the end of the day, I think. But when I look at it, it seems crazy, doesn't it? Maybe it's just because I'm not used to catching a trade that far. When you look at it, it looks crazy, right? WineTube asks, "Do you like me?" I don't know you that well. You seem okay so far. Huge volumes, I bet. Yeah. Well, what do we got? Daily volume on ES. It's 500,000. Yeah, that's pretty good. Because like a strong amount of volume on a good day would be like 1.5 million, right? I don't really pay attention to that. I probably should pay attention to that more. Burst of VXX shorting to think all it took to push stocks higher was another reverse split. Oh, who reverse split? Bravo, the irony is that both Wall Street and Silicon Valley went all in to get Biden elected, right? And then he's going to raise the taxes on it. That's funny. Your ex was spying on you? Oh, no. Are we going to see a reversal? Well, you know, if it was just my luck, it's going to flip back down and go right back to where I got in at. or I'm going to move my risk up and it's going to go down and find that. I don't know, but I don't think it's going to. I think that they're going to retrace the whole move. But the reality is we don't really know. We have an edge because we understand the news. But that edge doesn't necessarily tell us exactly where it's going to go. Like, they don't have to retrace the whole move if they don't want to, right? We just know they're going to trade. If they're going to be full on bearish today, why couldn't they retrace that move? Because yesterday's move was in reality just a retrace of the previous day's move up. So I don't know. But then you also kind of wonder, say we move up, but we stop at 41.65. Right? Because then you would get, then we would have a consolidating range. And how will all of the technical analysis traders read that? And does it matter? Yesterday, 62 was yesterday's point of control? Okay. Yeah, I'm just seeing that area and I'm looking at it because like 41.70 was yesterday's high, right? So like if they get above 41.70, then that would be great. But I'm looking at it now and I'm like, well, that one might not happen. So 55s are kind of average now. Yeah. Well, can you see how there's definitely some holding in? So let's see if we can game this out again, shall we? Let's come over to our chart. And let's do our little ruler thing. Fibonacci retracement. So where did we first start seeing the absorption? Wasn't it 52? Was it? I think there was some before that. There was a little bit at 43. Okay, well, so we come here to 43, let's say. Or let's do this one. Let's do that area right there. Oh, we got to come in and change it. Properties. Let's change our retracements to be 50. So actually we'll remove that one. 33.33. 66.66. Remove that one. Add another one, and this one will be 100.1. No, 100. 166 rather. 166.66. Okay. Okay. Oh, I didn't make it visible. Properties. Eric D says, I'm French. This message is a copy in the chat in Europe together. Okay. Well, thank you for joining us. Not the first. It's been a while since we've had somebody come in and tell me they were French. Not the first one, but it says it's visible. Why am I not? Oh, maybe because I have it backwards. That's why. Yeah. Okay. There we go. Okay. So, I don't know exactly where the first absorption was, but it was probably somewhere around here, right? Okay. Good. So, that does seem to be following the law of a meta order. So I'm going to say this was one meta order. And this was the post meta order impact, right? So then we should be able to come in and do the same analysis there. Since we were just getting some stuff at 52, we're going to say this could be just as large of a meta order. Oof. Okay. So we could say this is just as large of a meta order. But it's going to be harder for them to move. So we get up to that first where we start to see the first amount of absorption. And yeah, so just short of 60. So I think that we could probably continue up. The big question is, should I hold it? Should I hold it to the close, or should I take the profit because we're likely to slow down here?
Meme Finance says pump at my friend.
The Indian voice is great, man. I love accents, man. What they do from here is based on looking maybe options games too. Yeah, well, I think that's kind of what I'm betting on to want to hold it to the close, right? Is that there could be a pretty good ramp into the close off of options because they're going to want it to close as high as they can, right?
Vlad Stolyarov says diamond hands.
I don't think that one is correct. I think you should use the Ukraine M. Oh, no, wait. Russia M. Oh, it's Russia, not Russian. You almost had it. What do you think about the Quant Tower platform? Yeah, thank you for asking that. So, I think it's okay. I've used it a little bit. I think you get a pretty good deal if you go over to Optimus Futures, and they've been putting a couple of features in there trying to differentiate themselves. So I think that the future for them looks pretty good. But the platform itself is still very immature, right? It's just not very well established. It doesn't have like all the bells and whistles and everything. So, you know, that is really the case for a lot of platforms, you know. Honestly, there's not a single platform out there that doesn't have room for significant features to be added. Do you know what I mean? So, but Quant Tower in particular, there's, you know, especially if you want to do anything funky with your charts or any of that sort of a thing, like you're gonna have a lot of stuff to add. App has a full version, yeah. Now the advantage on Quant Tower is the price, right? So I'm not so sure if Quant Tower would be super great for what I do. Honestly, for what I do, or what I'm trying to do, I don't know what I do over here on the E-mini. Maybe you can get away with anything, but especially when I'm trying to just take a tick out of the 10-year, this experimental trade that I've been working on, which worked. Which, by the way, look at that. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, how many did I take? Well, I took 5, 6, 7. So I took 7. So I was 4 for 7 with 1 loser and 2 scratches. Those are exactly the stats I'm going for. So I wish maybe I had more trades overall, but super happy with that. Okay. Anyways, if that's what you're doing, then like really Jigsaw is like the only thing. Maybe you could use TT, but I think that Jigsaw is better for that. So, you know, but if I was just doing what most retail traders do as trading, yeah, you'll probably be just fine with Quant Tower. And I think that the price is really attractive. So, and I should say, I don't see anything bad in Quant. There's nothing in there that's like, oh, I'd stay away from that platform. But I don't know. The only platform that I really feel like that with is, yeah. Anyways, you guys know what the name of it is, and it escapes me right now. Why am I? MTS. MTS is like the only one that I'm like, don't use that. That platform is crap. Trojan Scope smashed the likes. Hey, thank you very much. Well, so I think now is a good time to go through
Mean
all
Finance
this
says
stuff,
that's
right?
very good today, my friend. Bye 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 bye. I eat bears for breakfast.
All right. I tell you what, the Bears are feeling it today. Anybody that tried short in this thing is feeling pain for sure. So if you guys are new, just a couple of things I want to make sure you see. First of all, when you give the channel a like, or when you give the video a like, it really helps. Okay, even though it's a live stream. Okay. Even so a lot of people watch the video on replay, and it actually boosts the video as we're watching it. So the more of you that like it, the earlier on, the better it is for the stream. So I appreciate it very much. The next thing is this is very much a channel where you want to subscribe and hit that bell icon. So I stream every day. If you want to make it easy to find it when we're streaming, then you hit that bell icon, right? And it will give you notifications. Plus, I do post regular videos that I think you'll find very useful, and I'm always trying to point out things that I don't think you get anywhere else on YouTube, and are the things that I think would be like the most beneficial for retail traders. So I don't think you want to miss those videos. So that's another good reason to hit the bell icon, right? Also, there's a couple of fun things for you guys in the description. I'm always looking for, because this is like really like about community. To me, that's why we're here. I don't run this as like a signal service or anything like that, right? I gain a lot from learning from you guys, and having the community is a great thing, right? So for you guys in the video description, you can get this mug. This is our thing, Traders Gonna Trade, because sometimes you really just can't explain what's going on. It's just people wanted to trade and they didn't really have a good reason to do it. So you can get that in the video description. There's also Discord in the video description. One of the largest, longest running, most successful futures trading specific Discords out there, have channels for every instrument out there. So you can talk with people about the market that you are looking at in particular. Actually, more popular than the channel. There's a lot of people over in the futures trading Discord. And it's linked to by the futures trading subreddit. So if you haven't checked out the Discord, definitely recommend you do that. Okay, and then a few promotional things. They do have a Patreon where you get cryptocurrency charts. I have my website, Speculator Seth, where you can download my indicators And then if you join the YouTube channel for $10 a month, you get access to those indicators. 2-week trial, but then after that, you have to be subscribed to the channel. Which, by the way, it's getting about time to go through that end of month stuff and look at that again. And Yada is a free savings account. So if you sign up for Yada, we both get 100 tickets, which turns out to be like $1 to $10. So free money. And, you know, you do have to put money into the savings account, but it's still your money. So, like, why wouldn't you do it? You need to have a savings account anyways. Yada is just the greatest thing ever, man. I can't, you know, I know it's like a thing that, like, not everybody's going to be like, well, savings account, that's kind of dumb. But I'm telling you, I really enjoy it. If you haven't tried it, this to me is like the future of savings accounts. So I think it's worth trying. So use the code SpeculatorSeth on that. And then I have several social media places, right? So Discord is the best place to get a hold of me, but I also post things on Twitter from time to time. And I have a TikTok account where I've been posting content daily. So, and that's also where you can watch Steve. So on TikTok, you can find Speculator Seth, but you can also go and find Real Stock Market Steve. So I have a video planned for Real Stock Market Steve. If you click that link, it doesn't open a full link. So with the Yada thing, I would click that link if you're on a phone, because Yada is really a phone application. But you don't even necessarily have to do that. Just go and find Yada on the Google or Apple store, and then when you sign up, use the code SpeculatorSeth. Yeah. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, I have an idea. Well, I was gonna do part of it with you guys here on stream. I was talking about it at the beginning, but we had enough going on to stay focused. So I'll do it after this stream. But I have an idea that I think will be kind of funny for Stock Market Steve today. So we'll do that. 24 likes, 26 concurrent viewers, guys. That is amazing. Today was a good day. What should we put? What should we put in today's? I'm gonna put in that Biden's capital gains tax can't pass, so I buy the dip. That's what I'm gonna put. Oh, and I can put live stream back in here. Live stream. Save. Sleepy Day turned out to be a massive rally that I didn't short. Good job, Vlad. Did you buy it, though? Or did you just watch it go and be like, oh, those stupid bulls, they don't know what they're doing? That's a good title. Yeah, I think a lot of people will look at that one and be like, oh. No, you didn't buy it. I said Biden's capital gains tax can't pass, and somebody in Discord is saying Biden couldn't pass gas. I guess that's one way of putting it. I couldn't believe easy mode was right. I would say today was easy. Like, even in the Treasury, I don't know. I mean, the Treasury was doing the same things that I was finding frustrating, and maybe we were just lucky that we got a really good downtrend, but I feel like it was a little bit too easy. I'll read this one last one from Meme Finance if it comes. Sometimes it takes like the longer in we get, the longer it takes them to transcribe it for some reason. I don't know why YouTube takes forever. Maybe there's like a person that actually reads it out, and that's why it takes so long. Okay, we found your video channel, went through the Ninja Script videos. My question is, do you trade via bots or do manual trading, or just speculate market and share your opinions? Oh, okay, so this is a good question. I'm sorry, I'm going to be like really brief because I do got to get going. But so generally what I do is, if I believe that I've found some sort of a technical strategy, I'm going to trade it manually, but I will back test it first on the robots to see how much efficacy it has. And I've always got these days some sort of a robot running and trying to, you know, sort things out. So I got this one set up. I changed him, but it doesn't look like we were ever getting the situation that it needed for it to go long. So you would need like an overextension selling for it to take a trade. So none of my robots took a trade today. But I think that the main thing that I try and, you know, the reason why I talk about the ninja trading, in addition to just being really good at programming, really good, that's really egotistical, but I think I'm pretty good at it, is so that you can backtest your ideas. Because even if you don't auto trade, there's still really big advantages to really knowing how certain setups perform. And a lot of people, what you're going to find is most of the things that people think work, especially when it has to do with past price movements, don't really mean a whole lot at all. Master West, I've been learning on the mini NQ for about 2 years now. Crazy times to start as a novice and learned a lot. Starting to think less volatile markets might be better to scalp. Well, yeah. I'm more used to it when it's tight. You know, I like the 10-year because it's tight, and you know, the E-mini moving around so much it has its difficulties, and I've been all prepared for it to slow down. And I think that here in the next couple months, if we don't have our market pull back to 3,800, man, then this could get really, really tight. And of course, the NQ is going to move a lot more. But this is where like your spot in the queue and that sort of stuff starts to matter. And I want to play that game in the E-mini. So have you tried the Carmella strategy? I don't know. That's what you're describing there, Trojan Scopes, though. Well, let's just put this in here. I'll just copy it, and I have a list of things to backtest that like I never get to, but I should backtest. See here, to backtest. I have a bunch of stuff to backtest. But that sounds like more of a daily thing. So I will admit that my studies have suggested that the technical analysis is going to be more effective on daily timeframes. So, okay, I really got to go now. I got 2 minutes before I got to be in a meeting. So I will catch you guys on Monday. Hopefully I'm able to get my video together this time. And yeah, in the meantime, stay profitable, friends.